Hello everyone, this is D2 from Samurai Gamers, and we're going to go over the June update for Arena of Valor. Last time I did it with Niberia and TJ and JBZ. This time I'm bringing along the other head writer for Samurai Gamers, that's Cody. Hello Cody.
Hello.
So typically, I think I'm just going to put your volume a bit higher. Typically, we just talk about this, like shooting the shit, talking about, the actual effect of patches like these, and we do it in private, so we figured we might as well make it into a video. So let's just go straight through it. We haven't really talked about this very much, other than a couple remarks like, "Oh, this is interesting, that's interesting." But we'll go through the entire thing now, starting with the announcement from Arena Valor, and the first thing to talk about is Football Fever.
Hmm.
And they actually have an entire page of explanation
Oh
on.
wow, that's way more than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's so it's both teams compete in a 3v3 football match. Matches last 4 minutes. There's modes, there's intercepts, talents, there's weather effects, advanced techniques, all this kind of stuff. There's literally an entire page on how it works, which on the one hand, it's perhaps overly complicated, but on the other hand, a lot of times with game modes like this, where it's like basically it's pretty basic, like a soccer mode, it
Hmm.
can get old pretty quickly. So I can see them wanting this to be something that lasts for a while instead of just playing it one time and being like, okay, I'm over that.
Yeah, it looks impressively big, especially right after they released another game mode.
Right.
It reminds me there was a soccer mode in Dota 2 a few years back in the arcade, and I'm wondering if it'll be similar, but it wasn't as big as this seems to be.
Yeah, there was one, I forgot where they wrote it, but basically because there's so many game modes, obviously, they're concerned about wait time, so
Hmm.
they split it up. Okay, here it is. Yeah. So Deathmatch is going to be playable on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Football Fever will be playable on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Hook Wars will be playable on Saturday and Sunday. So that's
Hmm.
how they're planning to split it up in order to make sure that there's not super long wait times, which makes
I
sense.
gotcha. Yeah, it does. Instead of being frustrated for the wait time, we'll just be wondering which day we can play our games.
I'm sure it'll show it in the game.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure.
all right. So next thing, any last thoughts on that before we go on?
No, it'll be interesting to see. I can't say too much till I try it. Um, like weather effects is interesting. It will just make Ignis weaker. Now his fire will go out in the rain.
I never thought of that. Okay, let's move on. More bands in Diamond rank and above. So, in preparation of the new season beginning on July 1st, matches in Diamond rank and above will now have 2 bands per team. Previously, there was
Hmm.
1 band per team. I a lot of people have been clamoring for this. They want more bands because there's too many OP characters, and there's always or recently the standard in professional matches has been 3 bands per team. So
Yeah.
this is a nice kind of in between
Mm,
compromise. Um, I
and
didn't really care too much about OP characters. I guess now people get to ban Superman and ban the other OP characters, but what do you think about it?
oh, it helps especially now since one team basically is stuck banning Superman. Um, since he is was 100% pick banned, not even pick ban at the Valor Series playoffs,
Hmm.
and he is a nightmare to play against to many people. So it'll give people a bit more flexibility and maybe less toxicity in character select if someone has someone else that they hate playing against.
Right.
Um,
At the boot camp, Superman's pretty much always been as well, like
yeah,
90% of the time.
yeah. He's just so oppressive right now. But I like it. It's a natural thing to happen as there get to be more characters in the game, especially since there's been a string of rather strong characters in the game recently.
Mm.
Like we had the Flash, we had Liliana, we had Max, who's regularly banned. And now Rourke, who is already strong, is getting a buff, so it'll be. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. But yeah,
Right.
think it'll give at least a bit more flexibility to the draft mode.
Yeah, I think you'll be seeing more interesting bans. The funny thing is, there's this hive mind in a lot of play. Like in over on NA, it's Superman and Flash every single game. Like literally 90% of the time, it's exactly those two bans. So I wonder if we're gonna see the same thing where it goes to 4, and the exact same 4 will be banned every single time. And the funny thing is, if you don't ban like a specific character, people will get mad at you. And the other
No,
thing,
yeah, I've seen that in other MOBAs as well.
and the funny thing is, when you have, sometimes you'll have a player, people, it would be so automatic to ban a specific character that you forget that there's actual strategy to this kind of thing, right? Like I was playing this game where this guy was in the first slot, and it showed his most recent heroes. One of them was Flash, and he's like, "Don't blend Flash, don't blend Flash." And the guy wasn't paying attention. He bans Flash, and then so it's like, okay, now we're screwed. We don't. And then they first pick Liliana, and then yeah, it was problematic.
Well,
So,
yeah, obviously there is some strategy there, because obviously if you're going to get first pick and you have someone who can play one of those characters, you want to leave them open, because worst case scenario, you're forcing the enemy team to burn one of their bans. But yeah, there's a lot of automatic, like, I don't want Superman to be in this match, and so I'm going to lock him in.
right. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, you can actually, if you guys haven't played, if you guys haven't played in the draft system before, you can actually switch your characters. So if anyone on the team can switch, but the problem is both of the players have to have both heroes in order for that to happen, right? Because you can't select a character. But it's certainly possible for if your team has multiple characters that they can play. They can go ahead.
I know that's one of the reasons why they can be reluctant to raise the ban, because it effectively raises the minimum number of heroes you need by 1. Since there's no mirror picks in ranked mode, everyone effectively has to have 10 heroes to be able to do that. And by Diamond, that's very common.
Yeah.
But I guess it's technically possible to not, if you played like no more than 2 games a day every day by the time you got to Diamond.
Yeah, if you're just really, I guess it affects like Smurf accounts, right? Because you need 14 heroes, but you still, I mean, even on the Smurf account, you want diversity. Not even speaking of having the minimum number, you want to be able to actually play different types of heroes.
You want to, but not everyone does.
Right.
But yeah, the Road to Glory gets rid of that, a lot of it. You'll just get people stuck getting flamed as butterfly jungles if she's the last of the Road to Glory picks that they have.
By the way, the end of that story where the Flash was banned, the person, the guy who wanted to pick Flash ended up picking Preda, and the person who banned Flash picked Natalia, and we're like, "What are you doing?" and then she was really good, or I don't know if it was a he or she, but Natalia is a she, so they were really good, and we won the game easily. So
that's fun. So probably not a more distinct pick from the Flash than Preda.
Yeah, but to be fair, when you see professional matches, it's basically like even L'Oreal has fallen out of favor in the boot camp, the AEWC boot camp, which is all the top teams in the world, and like so it's basically the top 3 mages. It's now a 3 mage rotation now again at the top, where it's Liliana, Flash, and Tulin, and when those get banned, then the fallback picks are usually like Kali and Preda, because
I felt like L'Oreal has fallen out of favor as well.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. L'Oreal has. Yeah, they stopped picking her completely.
I mixed you up in Liliana. Yeah. Ever since she got the movement speed nerf, she hasn't seen nearly as much play.
Yeah. So instead of falling back to L'Oreal, they fall back to Preda and Kali, because when I guess the thinking is, if you can't have a super mobile, damage dealing hero that gets in and out of fights, you might as well just have someone who can just dish out damage from super far, right? Like basically, you just don't want your mage dying. Anyway, we've gone on too long about that. we fell off topic for a moment. Anyway, Valor TV, the ability to chat while watching live stream and replay has not been added. That I'm wondering if that means you can type in chat or type in Twitch chat.
I think it's going to be their integrated chat.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit different.
since they have the infrastructure, and I'm not sure how Twitch integration would work.
Hmm.
I feel like they would think it easier to do their integrated chat, but that's all speculation.
Okay,
I'd have
well,
to check it.
that's interesting. Okay, anyway, Valor Cup is all concluded. Go watch the AWC. Okay, changes to account names. You can only have normal names. Okay, sounds good. Qualifying round quest progress for qualifying rounds will be set once a week instead of once per season. What is this?
I think it's like your progress, how many points you have, or your standing. I don't know much about these quests. I'm assuming it has to do with the Valor Cup, the Guild Wars thing.
Well,
But I'm not popular.
Guild Wars is what it's called on SEA, and it's called
Okay.
Valor Cup on NAEU. Yeah.
Okay. There's so many Valor series and cups and fights and bouts and arenas.
Yeah, it was pretty confusing, especially when Valor Cup was two different things. Valor Cup was the championships in the MSP Malaysia Singapore Philippines, and it was also like the weekly little thing on NAEU. So it's
I think someone needs to invest in a thesaurus.
Valor Championship.
The Bravery Cup. No, no more Valor.
No, it's part of the name. That's the whole point.
You can call it the Arena Cup, so I
Oh, there
can
you
tell
go.
them apart.
There you go.
Or the of match.
Uh,
That's what I would think. I'm not popular enough to be able to find 4 people to do that with, so I don't know the particulars too well.
Okay, well, let's move on. Battle changes. We've increased the attributes of mini waves, so they're not so easy to clear in the late game. Now they grow stronger over the course of 30 minutes rather than 20 minutes. I don't know about this because I feel like you have your full build by 20 minutes.
Odd, because how many games are hitting 30 minutes that this was a problem?
Well, some games do, and then the game just like never ends. Like there have been games where it goes like 30 to 40 minutes, and it feels like no one can win. I think the point of this is that if there's a fight and you win the fight, the minions will just like destroy everything basically. Or
Gotcha.
or there'll be like alternative ways to win, like you can just split push. Like it kind of open up to, because if you split push and they just rotate and clear, then it's kind of pointless. But if you split push and it's like really hard to kill the minions and it just kills the core, then you have to go kill the guy, and if you do kill the guy, maybe you have an advantage, and then you can win the game that way. So
I gotcha. It obviously has to do with the pacing of the game. I just don't know if minions was something that needed tweaking so much.
right. Yeah, although it's kind of hard to adjust, like, hero levels or something like that. But...
No. I understand. I would have preferred to see them get rid of the mini wave system that's happening now. I think it happens. What did it happen in 5v5? I know it happens in 3v3. I need to double check the sheet to see if it happens in 5v5. But there's a point where the wave splits in half, and so instead of getting 3 melee, or I guess a super minion, 2 melee arranged in a siege, there's one wave that's like a super minion and a siege, and the other one is a melee and a ranged. It's some weird quirk that I'm not sure if it's a bug or not.
Well, we'll see how things change. They were already really hard to clear, especially when you're a tank building mostly tank build. You just like, I need an ADC over here to clear these. I can't.
Yeah.
Like I would literally just die to minions.
Sorry, we're in a no ADC main. Those minions are stuck.
Well, I mean they've gotten a little bit stronger, especially with Arum, because Arum's so bad against marksman, but so good against everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, audio and boom system sounds and in-game voice chat has been optimized. Sounds good. Bug fixes. Apparently, when you used Omega's ult, you could make him spin faster.
That's hilarious, but I don't know if that really did anything, because I don't think his damage was tied to his animation.
Right.
It felt like it just did like ticks of damage.
Yeah,
so,
if that's the case, then why don't they just...
I would have loved to see like Omega spinning like a top.
I wonder who like figured that out. It's like some guy like playing,
awesome.
the old like fighting games where if you mash the buttons faster, that it would do more damage, right? If someone's like,
Yeah.
ah, Omega, kill the
Oh,
tower.
it reminds me, in League of Legends several years ago, um, there's a hero. Basically, Arthur's a carbon copy of him, and his
Mm-hmm.
name's Garen. But
Mm-hmm.
instead of like having swords spin around him, he spins himself while holding his sword. Well, at the time, if you did an emote command like /dance while spinning, he would never end the spinning animation. So you would just spin everywhere when you were fighting. It was awesome.
So it's basically so he spins like Omega basically. So he's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
running
yeah.
around the map.
Like
That's so
Omega
funny.
or Ormar, but he would just never stop.
That's really funny. Okay, so fix a bug with Chugnar, and fix a bug in Crixie's ult range. Although that's true for like you've
Yeah, that's
measured the ability
most
ranges for
heroes.
everyone, and
Yeah,
that's everyone's like that.
a good 90% of the heroes have this bug.
Quote unquote, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's an actual bug or if it has something to do with how the game does depth perception. Um, because many MOBAs, it's not like a flat plane, it's slightly curved in order
Mm.
to let you see a bit further. I haven't checked too much if Arena Valor is like this, but that might lead to it being distorted a bit. Um, or it could just be that the game's not reading the range they put in correctly.
Right, it could be a combination of everything.
Yeah.
But apparently, Crixie's ult was particularly bad, especially because it's a circle. So it's like maybe it's more obvious, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's get to the meat of this, which is the actual hero changes. There's a lot of small changes, and there's a couple pretty big ones. So the small ones we can just kind of like hand wave over them, and then we'll talk about the big ones. Starting with Vera, Hellbat damage rescaled from 520 through 545 to 575 to 520 or 825, excuse me, and then the AP scaling goes down too. So she's actually like stronger in the end game, but weaker in the early game. And the
Backwards.
AP scaling, no, but the scaling.
Scaling's lower, and the later.
Oh yeah,
ranges
backwards.
are
Yeah, I
lower.
was just reading. Yeah.
And it was on the Chinese patch notes that they were talking about doing this with some mages, moving some late gauge game damage earlier to give them more of an early game push. I'm not this. It's weird to do this on Vera because she has some more mechanical problems
Mm.
with her, like how you can't control where her ult goes, which makes it really easy to counter.
Yeah, for those of you playing Vera, if you run into a group of heroes, use Hellbat. Does way more damage than your ult.
Yeah, don't use your ult unless you're one-on-one. One-on-one, it's amazing. But if there's anyone else there, it's not going to do... Well, it's literally only going to do about half of what it could do.
Also, if you think that boomstick will help with your ult a lot, it only does like one tick extra of damage per little thingy. So it doesn't, even if it hits multiple heroes, it doesn't actually go up twice. So if you think that you're gonna ult them and this boomstick's gonna kill everyone, that's not the case. Just throwing it out there.
See, I would rather they kind of switched the logic on her ultimate, because right now you want to only use it when people are really close,
Mm.
or there's only one, or they're spread out. I would rather they made it so that you want to use it when people are grouped together, and the counterplay is to spread out. So make the bats bounce around when they go out.
Right.
To where if you hit someone alone, they don't really do anything, because Vera's already really strong against people one-on-one just from her 1 and 2. So
Yeah.
making an ultimate to give her a bit more team fighting potential could help round her out.
All right, let's just move on. It's just kind of
Yeah.
not that the change isn't that much.
Yeah,
We should talk about, before we go on. For those who don't know what AP is, we have a whole article about that. But basically, every time you build magic damage, it strengthens your abilities by a certain amount, and or whatever that scaling that is, it's like, it makes her scale stronger or weaker. So if you get 1,000 ability power on Vera, then with her ability here, you'll be doing 1,150 damage plus this 825. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what that means. And usually over 1 is good, and under 1 is not as good. And then like sometimes it's a really small, like 0.5 or something like that. But that's important as we go for it, because you'll see things like rescaling, or you'll see something like it's increased, even though these numbers will go down, but the AP numbers will go up, and so some people are confused by that.
Yeah.
All right.
And it helps you know what abilities are better to get earlier because they have higher base damage, or what to wait off on because they scale well, but maybe their base damage isn't so good.
Right. Okay. Next, Liliana. Leap of the Fox. It says Leap of the Fox is actually blinding light. I know that because Leap of the Fox doesn't actually stun anyone.
Yeah.
And also the indicator is blinding light. So basically, when she's in human form, her 2 stuns people, and now that goes down. It was a really, really good stun when it hit. So
yeah,
it's just making it slightly weaker.
It wasn't that hard to hit either.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
And it splashes, so even if like a minion got in the way, you're still stunning them.
Yeah, it's basically a better version of Gilder's.
Pretty much.
Not quite like the massive range, but she doesn't have to charge at all. It's just instant. All right, unpredictable human form. Magic damage reduced from blah 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 to blah blah blah. So this is what we're talking about, right? Like it's not just this number, this base damage reduced. It's like the AP is reduced as well. Mm-hmm. The enemy speed movement reduction reduced from 50 to 30. So I think this is when you go from fox to human, and there's like those 2 circles.
Yeah, well, both are the same. If you look, both of the numbers came out equal.
Okay.
So human form. Yeah, I think when it says human form, that's the ability you have when you're human.
Okay.
But
I didn't know you slow people when you turn to a fox. I knew that you slow people when like the circles on the ground when you went to human.
I guess you did. I didn't play Liliana much, so I can't say.
Yeah, I played her a lot, but it's just like you save going into fox form for when you're running away, and the occasional time when they have like minuscule health left and you want to finish them off. It's kind of an extra little like perk that you can use when they're super low. You don't, for people who try to jump, like I used to do the thing where I just use all my human abilities and then jump and use my fox abilities because they're available, and then they would just die. You have to wait until they're low, or else things won't go well. But yeah, it's weird because they spent 2 patches reducing her shining light damage, and then they're like, well, we can't just make it like not an ability, so we're just gonna take out damage on the edges.
You only have 5 left.
I know, but they're taking out damage along the edges, and she'll feel a little bit weaker, and you're not gonna realize why, basically.
Yeah. To be fair, she had overly impressive damage. Before, I don't know if that would. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Illumia Cataclysm. This is a really interesting change. So it immediately reveals the position of all enemy heroes, which it feels like it should have done already since it ults all of them. But it's nice to see like where they are, right?
Yeah. It makes it better at checking the epic creatures as well.
Right, and it's like Max's ult, right? It's kind of the similar cooldown now as well. So it's like, where are they? I want to know where they are. So a lot of times as Max, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to use Liftoff, but I really need to know where they are right now. Like when you're taking Dark Slayer or something like that. So it's kind of the same thing there with Cataclysm.
And it gives it value even if they miss, since it's not the hardest ability to dodge. It's nice that it will still have at least a little value.
Right, and sometimes nice to
see that they haven't forgotten about Illumia.
Sometimes when they're in bushes too, you can't tell. Like it's hard to tell if your ult went off there. So now it'll be like, oh, there you are, I see you.
Oh yeah.
But all right, so that's pretty good, and like the increased cooldown is definitely worth it. All right, next one, Kali Powerful Hymns, magic dealt by piercing enemies increased from 40 plus 1 plus 0.4 to 50 plus 1.4. It's like 10 more damage. That's her passive, by the way. She does magic damage when she uses her auto
It's always curious to me who decided, like, you know what, this needs 10 more damage.
And it's not like it increases per level either. It's just literally 10.
It's just the base is up by 10.
I mean...
So, that one time that you got away with below 10 health, not anymore.
Hey, when you crit and you'll get 20 damage instead.
Yeah.
I forgot what the rules on her. I did all the I did all the checks for this. I don't know why, but I was curious, and so to see what the multipliers were. I think for her, the entire thing. It's either the entire thing or like only the 80 part. I forgot which one. Anyway,
I can't remember. It might just be the 80 part because I remember we were playing with the race car build with her.
right. You can. I'm too lazy to check, but just go to our site and you'll see it. Anyway, Soul Summoning cooldown rescaled from 10 through 7 seconds to just 8 seconds, which is probably a good thing.
Primarily a buff outside of the last 2 ranks.
Yeah. So the last 2 ranks are obviously the 5th and 6th one, which you get at, I believe, what is that? It's like level 9 and 11 if you rank it first, and then level 14 and 15 if you rank it second. Which a lot of times I do her other one first with the movement speed. So
I generally do as well. They will be worth reevaluating with all these changes, though.
yeah, but I mean, this would make you want to do even more, right? Because now it doesn't even matter.
It barely. It just scales in damage.
Yeah. Okay. The Flash super speed damage dealt to enemies hit by the second dash after also hitting it with the first increase from blah 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 to blah blah blah, and it's actually a big increase. So it doesn't change at the beginning, but once you get to level 15, it's 150 more, and then plus 1.15 AP more. So if you have like 1,000 AP, then it's going to do 150 more than that, so 300 more basically.
Yeah, that adds up because that happens. That's all on top of the damage the ability normally does.
Right.
So they've taken both instances of super speed's damage and then that too.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. It's an issue. Anyway, cooldown increased from. Sorry.
It's curious they buffed it though.
Right. I haven't looked at. I haven't memorized everyone. Maybe they nerfed them somewhere else. Anyway, cooldown increased from 10 through 7 to 11 through 8. Sure. The 1 second does make a difference sometimes. The first dash can now be interrupted, which I suppose that's why they did it, because now you can.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, because that was really annoying not being able to stop that. Anyway, Mach Punch, magic damage for each stage rescaled from 120 to 270 to 135 to 260, 0.25 to 0.2. So
tiny bit of early game damage at the cost of worse scaling and lower late game damage.
Right. I think that's probably good, because I felt like that was the case with Flash. Like, he was kind of weakish in the early game, but he was just like crushing people in the late game. Although, like, it's not a huge change.
Yeah.
Cyclone, magic damage removing, rescaled from 80 through 160 to 90 to 170, and then the AP is down 0.03. It's not that much difference. Magic damage after pulling an enemy is rescaled from 400 to 800 to 450 to 900, and then 0.75 AP down to 0.6 AP. So
better base damage is lower ratios.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Not a whole lot to talk about. It's because you'll lose about 100 to 150 on the AP side. So, All right, moving on. Tilin, base movement speed reduced from 350 to 340. I think this is like pretty relevant because like 340 is tied for the slowest hero in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of the boots and movement speed increasing items, or sorry, the boots doesn't matter, but all of the movement speed increasing items, they're based on your base, which includes boots after the fact. So all the percentage is based on your raw number. Mm-hmm. So let's say he has boots and goes to 400. So every single percentage, like if you have like a 5% increase, now you're only increasing on, you only get the 10 from there too as well. So, also like the fact that he's such a good early game hero means that you're just like crawling around at 340 at the beginning of the game. Yeah. I think that's the same speed as Vera, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's even slower. But yeah, it's relevant.
If nothing else, he has one of the best movement abilities in the game, simply from the fact it's stacked. So I don't think it's too big of a
true
problem for him.
Okay, Ion Blast, magic damage reduced from 500 through 800 to 450 to 750, and then 0.75. It says reduced, but it's actually rescaled, so not a huge difference. 0.03 if you have like 1,000 AP. That's what, 30?
It's going to have a hard time hitting 1,000 AP though, because generally people are only buying 2-3 AP items on him.
In pro matches they'll sometimes go all AP
Oh, were
because
they? Okay.
because they're just really good, so they don't die. So
Well, the general user will generally has
they'll go
I've
Aegis, right? Yeah.
seen usually getting an Aegis and then maybe a Mail of Pain or a Gaia Standard near the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think pros they'll go all AP, and then if they need to, they'll start switching to defense afterward, because they'll just die too quickly. But yeah, it's most of the time they skip the Aegis there. I know they'll go Arctic Orb instead, basically, in order for like the panic button. Okay.
Passive.
Moving on, Plague Spectre, mana cost reduced from blah 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 to blah blah blah. I guess it helps you don't have to go to base as much. Seems good.
Yeah.
Poison Gas Bomb, slow down effect reduced from 50 to 30. Cast range reduced from 8.5 to 8. It's just kind of annoying. I guess they don't want people just to be like messing around, like pinging people back and forth from super far, but...
If I remember correctly, that's reverting a previous buff. Because I think last patch, or maybe 2 patches ago, they raised it from 8 to 8.5.
Okay. Interesting.
And
so,
for those who use our pages, 8.5 meters means 850 units.
Right. Yeah, I think they probably gave him... They're like, wait, we probably gave him too many buffs. Let's just bring him back down a little bit. Because he is on the he's in the next tier behind the 3 top mages, so...
Yeah. He's with Raz and recently, Kali.
Right. And like Jinnar. Although people don't like Jinnar for some reason.
He gets buffs every patch.
I've seen people like complaining, like, "Why is Jinnar? He's so bad." It's like, no, he's actually really good.
He went from what we considered pretty good, very well balanced hero, to getting 4 buffs in a row.
Yeah. You should try him, guys. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe don't build him all AP, right?
And he looks way less like mind blanked on the name. Anyway, Overwatch boy. Zenyatta, there we go.
Oh yeah. For
some reason
you called him a boy, and I was like, what? I was like, Lucio? What are you talking about?
No. I got the names mixed. I was trying to say like Zenjar. I was like, that is not right.
Okay, let's talk about Raz, because this is one of those interesting things where I didn't know this was the case with Raz. So okay, magic damage reduced, but the reason why they did that is because they fixed a bug in which the magic defense reduction was not effective. So apparently he just didn't have a passive?
No, it's an extra effective power surge. So power surge, one of its abilities is lowers the target's magic defense by 50.
Right, that's what I meant. I got his passive mixed up with the effective power surge, yeah.
Yeah, his passive is his flying punches.
Right. So it's just that part of the description just didn't work.
It was like Rourke's passive in that it worked, but not for him.
Okay. Well, because it says this description doesn't read the same way as Rourke's does. Because it just says not effective.
It mentioned it in the Chinese page when they were talking about why they changed it. That basically Power Surge would not benefit from it. And once they fixed that, they thought it did too much damage because they previously raised it to get it a bit better. And so they brought it back down.
Right. So they're like...
It looks like he's getting nerfed, but he's really just staying about the same.
No, he's getting buffed. Because the damage... Okay, let's do the calculation, right? So 0.07. If you have 1,000 AP, that's, what, 70? So 70 plus 50 is 120. But 50 Magic Pierce is a lot. Like, because it's a percentage.
No, 50 points.
No, it reduces their magic defense by 50.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, and then how they do it is they take that 50 and they put it into a percentage, right? And so it's going to end up being a lot more. Like, for instance, the Hecate's Diadem nerf earlier, I was doing the math, and even though they added like 70 off the bat, like AP, and it was like even more if you consider the other items, like if you consider the amount of magic defense or the pierce lost, you're losing like 100 to 200 worth of damage. So
while that's true, 50 magic defense only would be like 1 or 2 percentage points. So at the number we've been doing, 1,000 AP, that's 10 point. That's 10 damage points.
No. Because what they do is the number. Okay, so say if you have 0,
Mm-hmm.
then it's if you have 0 magic defense, which no one does, but let's just say, then
Anymore.
it's 0. Yeah, used to be Irie for some reason. 0 plus, yeah, so 0 over 600, right? Which would be 0%, obviously. But if you have 50, then it's 50 over 600. 50. So, which is 7%, or so, like 8%, right? 7.5%. So 7.5% times what, 1,000 is again 70. So I guess you're right. It's pretty similar. Anyway, they basically just reverted the what it was. Okay. Anyway, we're done with that.
In your case, if the bug extended to his other abilities, he will be doing more damage with his ultimate and one.
Right. Okay. Let's go to Jinnar. Battering beads. Magic damage increased from 300, 600. Okay, the base numbers are the same, 0.42 to 0.5 AP. So it goes higher with scaling, or scales higher with AP. Mana cost reduced. It's all good. So his beads go up in damage if you have AP, which is sure. Sure. Suture of Pain movement reductions rescaled from 30 to 60, or sorry, 35 to 60 to now 50, which makes him better in the early game. It felt like when he used Suture of Pain in the early game, it was like didn't do much at all. So this makes him better like in lane and stuff.
And that gets in your head to where you're not really using the ability later game.
Yeah. And Nirvana mana cost reduced from 140 to 170 to 100 to 150. That's a lot of mana.
Tencent
so
really likes Jinnar. They gave him a bunch of buffs, a new model, and not just like a minor tweak. Painted him a portrait.
He's good, guys. All of you complaining about Jinnar, give him a try.
He's a very different mage, which can be fun to play.
Yeah, just think of him as like a mage warrior. Don't think of him as like your typical. Like you're probably thinking like, oh, I use my battering beads on my ult and doesn't do any damage. It's like, yeah, but
you have to get right in there and shove your beads in their face, show them the enlightenment that they so wrongly mocked.
Exactly, that's pretty much it. You have to buy like defensive items like Bariths or the Aegis. Anyway. Next, Alistair. Wicked Plot. Every third normal attack no longer curses the target, only Alistair's abilities will. That really wasn't a thing. He did, because it used to be every single third attack added 1 mark, and then you have to get 3 marks. So you have to attack him 9 times to get like 140 damage. It was just like, it was not point. It was just, don't even worry about that.
But it is true damage. So there.
So there. It can still be reduced by like Asterians. Anyway, 2 damage inflicted by explosion reduced from 130 to 55. That actually reduced a lot. Like everything went down.
Not well. That's because of the last point, but we'll get there.
Okay, mark duration reduced from 7 to 5, and interval before mark triggers reduced from 5 seconds to 0 seconds. I didn't understand what this meant.
It has no cooldown. So before, after they got marked, there was a 5-second period where they couldn't get marked again. Now, every tick of his abilities will mark them. And since all but his like magic barrier are damage over times, each one of those ticks are going to mark them. And from the different spells. So like if he ults them while they're in the matrix, they're getting tons of marks really fast.
Oh, I see. Why? Wait, really? It took him 5 seconds for the next mark to go off?
Yeah. And not only that, the abilities before, like his ultimate said puts a mark at the beginning and the end, while now it says puts a mark with every tick of damage.
So basically his passive was hot garbage.
It was the only one with the worst passive was Preda.
Or no. What's her name? Wisp.
Wisp has a pretty bad passive too.
But now it's like, so it went from you went from having a garbage passive to now like an amazing passive. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a lot
Well,
less
it could be
damage.
amazing. I haven't tested it yet. In theory, it could be amazing.
Well, it's a lot less damage, but it's gonna be ticking a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, magic barrier cooldown rescaled from 13 to 9 to 12 to 9. Sure, that helps. Matrix glow. Every stage of damage in the matrix will add 1 Psychic Curse, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Magic
I don't
damage.
remember how many times it ticks, but since it's only having to hit 3 for the true damage burst, it should be hitting more than the 2/3 of a time that it did before.
So magic damage rescaled from more base, less AP. And cooldown reduced from 9 to 8. Another buff to his cooldown. Magic precision, each stage of damage will add 1 Psychic Curse, like you mentioned. Magic damage for each stage reduced from less AP. Cooldown to increase from 5 seconds. Okay.
He's a bit more supporty now too, with all these AP lowering.
Yeah, he doesn't. That's so weird. If you look at his abilities, they all scale so poorly. Like 0.3 is tiny. So
Honestly, if someone played him as a support, I think he could do well. He's just so underused that I haven't seen people really do that.
Well, you could do something like build Aegis on him, so you're just like spamming out abilities left and right.
Yeah.
And they're like just constantly taking damage, and you're just like slowing them down all the time. Yeah, just don't. I mean, it's not even worth building AP on him at all, and you'll still do damage. Like
nothing.
So basically, play him kind of like Jinnar, or at least more like you're just kind of like in their face and just build tanky. I guess more like maybe Maganga.
Well with this now. You're going to want to hit 40% CDR.
Yeah. Yeah. So, tip for you guys: don't build AP. Just build 40% CDR, and build them very tanky.
Loki, legally distinct Loki does not like the AP.
Okay, next. Natalia, Arcane Spirits. They keep buffing Natalia too, speaking of which.
Yeah, they do.
Each fireball that hits an enemy hero will restore 10 mana and reduce the cooldown by 0.6 seconds. So if you hit all 3 of them, it'll reduce by 1.8. And I believe her Arcane Spirits, they stop when they hit some.
There's 5 of them. There's 5 fireballs.
No, I think you're getting mixed up with someone else.
There's 5.
No.
There's even 5 in the icon.
What?
It's 5 fireballs. She shoots 5.
Okay, we're gonna check right now. I'm on my phone. Okay, while we're waiting for this, lethal rays, shield damage reduction increased. Shield damage reduction increased. From 5. What does that mean?
Oh, more shield points. So the shield she gets when she ultimates is bigger.
Oh, so the reduction just means like the damage that she takes.
Yeah, it's hard to write like more shield points because that's not necessarily clear.
Right. Anyway, she gets more of a shield when she uses her ult. Again. Anyway, so regardless of whether it's 3 or 5, she gets cooldown and she gets mana. Sometimes she has mana problems, especially in the early game. If you really need the Phoenix tier or the Magi on her.
Yeah, because you're normally harassing a lot using her abilities.
Okay.
And missing a lot with her abilities.
Oh, Natalia fires 5 Arcane Spirits. You're right.
Yeah.
For some reason, it seemed like it was less. It seemed like it was 3. Anyway, you win that one. So if you hit all 5, it's 3 seconds. Also, if they hit a hero, they stop, right? So
yeah,
that's the maximum. Yeah. Okay. That's still pretty good. Especially like if you hit it, you'll just be spamming out Arcane Spirits, and that does a lot of damage.
Yeah. Especially in team fights where it's really easy to hit.
Okay. Crixie, Mischief, magic damage increased. Well, they say increased, but it's rescaled because it goes. She'll have 250 more at level 15 or level like 11, whichever. But the AP goes down. So and Crixie typically builds pretty high AP. So she'll go to 1,000.
So the number we've been using, the 1,000 AP, that's 200 less from AP, but 250 more from her base.
Right. So yeah, I guess it's pretty hard to have it be less. And it's nice having the base damage increase, so she can build more tanky.
Especially with how close she has to get to people.
Well, Mischief is a pretty far ability. Like when I play
Yeah.
Crixie, I just Mischief all day, and I don't bother with Nature's Wrath, which we'll get to in a second. Gets increased. Mana cost rescaled. Costs more earlier, but less later. Kind of weird. Cooldown reduced to in the early game. So in the early game, it's every 6 seconds, which is pretty nice actually. And then, like we mentioned, Nature's Wrath is slightly more, so 650 units to 700. So she could kind of use it. It's still somewhat short, especially in comparison to Mischief, which is super long.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's just, all this is kind of meh. She'll be doing a little more damage, but...
Slightly better. She still won't get picked very much, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Okay, Azzen'Ka, Sand Trap, magic damage reduced from 150 plus 0.9 plus 10 to 150.75 plus 10. So...
It's a slightly lower scaling.
Is that the, wait, is Sand Trap, that's not his one, is it? No, that's his passive.
That's his passive, yeah. I actually wasn't aware it did damage.
Well, what is his passive again?
Petrifies when they get 3 stacks.
Right, and it does damage.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sure. Anyway, and this is the mark duration we were talking about earlier, so apparently it's easier to apply, so it's kind of like the same thing they did with Alistair.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that there was a cooldown on that one as well.
It didn't feel like it procced very often, unless you were just getting like bombarded, like he just hit his entire combo on you, and then you're like, oh, I got frozen.
His little sand coin hit you all over the place.
Yeah. Cooldown for the inability to use on the same target reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. Okay, so you can petrify them, and then 2 seconds later you can petrify them again. Seems good. All right, so that's why they reduced the damage. So you can do more often then. Sand Punch, magic damage reduced from blah 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 to blah blah blah. It's like lower scaling as well. Aerial time.
I just don't like that. It's so dirty looking.
What?
Just the 1.04 AP. Why they would choose that over 1 AP?
Well, now it's 0.9, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's much better now.
Cooldown. It's like I like the way it looks. I don't care that it's less. Cooldown rescaled from 8 seconds to 7 to 9 seconds.
I don't get that. Maybe it's like it goes up over time, but why would they just say 7 to 9 rather than telling us when it changed?
Yeah, like 9, 8.5, 8, 7.5, something like that.
That or it's like minions, and it's just, we don't really know. It could be any one of these values.
Just like an RNG cooldown.
Yeah.
It's like, depends on how well you threw that punch. That was a weak punch. 9 seconds for you.
You did well, but sorry, 9 seconds. That was too good. We need to give them a chance.
What is that? Okay, attack delay reduced from 1.1 seconds to 6.6 seconds. So, what is that?
I think that's the wind-up time when it would come out. So, like, it would show the sand punch, and then it would fist you in the air. And now,
accurate,
you just get
okay.
fisted without really knowing what's going on. Just all of a sudden, there's sand from underneath.
That's actually a pretty huge buff, because that was the whole problem, right? 1.1 seconds, you're like, oh, there's a massive circle appearing beneath my feet. Maybe I should dodge.
Yeah.
And now
Sashay over, but now you're going to get sand fisted all over the place.
So that's a pretty big buff, actually. So that's the reason why they reduced the damage as well, because now it's way easier to hit.
They're making him a bit more of a CC mage, it looks like.
Right, which is kind of what he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Xenial. Angelic Splendor. Duration of damage reduction effect reduced from 3 seconds to 2.2 seconds. I'm guessing that's his shield. So his shield went from 3 seconds.
No, that's his ultimate.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. I got confused. Okay.
It's they would get a damage reduction for
right. Yeah, and
when they got hit.
Huge.
Now it's a bit lower.
So I'm confused. Like, how long? Let me just look at the ability. I guess I could just look on our own page, right? Since we're here. Xenial. I guess I could have done this for Natalia as well, instead of opening up the game.
You could have called foul. You could have said I changed the page to say 5 spirits.
You're changing it. Xenia selects an ally hero to bless with 40% damage reduction for 3 seconds. It takes him 3 seconds to... Oh, weird. Okay, so apparently the damage reduction was for 3 seconds, but he arrived after 2.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, right when he arrives, they no longer have damage reduction, whereas before they had like a little bit longer.
Is that the case? Or does it happen when he arrives?
What do you mean?
Like,
No, they take damage reduction while, if you see the circle on a hero, like I played a lot of Xenial and I've watched a lot of Xenial, like when you see the circle, when you see the circle on someone, they're taking a lot less damage. That's like the whole point, right? Is like, that's what you try to save them. So like right when you ult on them, they're like really resilient. Yeah.
Okay, see, I thought you had to time it so that you're showing where it will go, and they'll get the damage reduction as long as they get under your Xenial foot.
No. Like that hero, even if they run away from the ult, even if they go off and miss the heal, they'll still have damage reduction.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really good. That's why the ult is so good, because you can immediately save someone. And that's why when you're trying to kill someone, and then Xenial's coming, you're like, why won't this person die? That's the reason. Yeah. Cooldown increased. So it was really good ult. Makes sense to increase it. That's kind of like the same thing they did with Teamy's ult earlier.
Yeah.
Also, when you have CDR, like if you build Frost's Cape and Medallion of Troy, then it seems like you have like for like every single fight or skirmish in the late game, which is not the good thing. Anyway, Omen, untouchable, rescale movement increase from 20 to 25 to 40 to just 30. I mean, it makes it really good in the early game. In the late game, he was like sprinting around the field, which is, I guess, is slightly better, right? You can't just like be like a race car, so it's probably good overall.
The slowdown effect got hit pretty hard too.
What was that? Slowdown effect?
Slowdown effect. When it bounces a shot back, it would slow them.
Oh, right. I always forgot about that.
The anti-violet effect.
Yeah, I always forgot about that thing. Also, it was like when we tested it, like back in the day, like the little like projectile thing would just chase after you. It's like, what is that thing? Death Embrace, distance advanced reduced from 5.5 to 5. Okay, so he sprints for 500 units rather than 550.
Right.
Which is probably good
twice
for
melee link.
It's probably good for my sake, because I always just overestimated it, and now I should just think, okay, it's like melee range basically. It's not melee range, but you should like consider that, or else you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sure. All right. Next, Wonder Woman, bracelets of submission, damage reduction decreased from 80% to 50%. This is probably needed because she was nigh unkillable.
Yeah.
It was so
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Especially since damage reduction is like the best thing you can get in the game, because it takes priority over everything.
Yeah.
Even true damage gets reduced by damage reduction.
Right. And I did the math back when I did the HP versus armor column, and the 80% damage reduction is equal to like 2400 armor / magic damage / true damage reduction. It was like, it was pretty nuts. So you cannot kill her in that little time before she pops her ult, which is, I mean,
when we were testing it, we could just tank the fountain tower.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even care.
Yeah. So now you can actually kill her. She'll be very tanky still. 50% reduction is a lot, but
yeah,
she's not going to be like immediately like, immortal. Anyway, stun time reduced from 1 second to 0.75 seconds. This overall just like a small nerf, because Wonder Woman is really, really good. Okay, Zephyr's death from above, range decreased from 700 units to 650 units. Sure.
A lot of range changes this patch.
Yeah. It's just kind of like these slight nerfs. Like, how can we nerf these people without completely taking away their identity? And yeah, sure. And Zephyr's is really good. So, anyway. Arthur, deep impact disability cannot be interrupted, which, as someone who played a lot of Arthur, and who still plays a lot of Arthur, like, he's my go-to a Superman stopper because I'm not the best with Omen. And when I would get stunned during deep impact and it wouldn't go off, I'd be like, what? It was the most frustrating thing ever. So I'm very happy about this.
Oh yeah, that seems very nice.
Okay, Butterfly, big changes. Butterfly
Yeah.
received a complete visual redesign. Her ability mechanics have undergone some changes. Assassin, a killer assist, resets the cooldown for all of Butterfly abilities, but no longer restores HP. However, she gets HP restoration later on, as we'll see.
Yeah. It's not necessarily tied to killer assist.
And it used to be like 15%, I think it was.
It's 15 or 12, somewhere around there, in the teens.
We can check. Okay. 15%. Aha, I win this round.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like tied to her full HP, so it's actually a lot. Anyway, Whirlwind, which is her 1?
Yes. Spins in a circle.
Yeah.
Previously spun in a circle, slowed the enemy.
Right. And now it doesn't.
Right.
Casting will remove slowdown, grant immediate slowdown, and increase Butterfly's movement speed by 50% for 1 second. So instead of slowing them down, you speed yourself up, which helps her in getting away because before.
But she really needed that.
Yeah.
Especially since it gives her a cleanse, which is really nice.
It's funny when you first start playing the game and Butterfly just seems to like just jump all over the place and like she'd kill someone and kills everyone else. Like you think she's like the super mobile hero, but when she's trying to run away, it's just pathetic. She's like
or if she's trying to catch up and the person has some idea of what they're doing.
Yeah. So yeah, she needed that extra movement speed.
Yeah.
Sword Propel, physical damage reduced from 390, 640 to 350, 600. What was this?
I'm not sure if this is her 2, and I'm not sure if that was necessarily necessary.
Oh, these like...
Basically just a nuke gives her a bit of additional attack speed afterwards.
Okay.
It's a very minor nerf, though, so...
Alright, next, Backstab. This is where she has a big change, and I'm actually confused about this, so I'm going to ask you. Damage reduction lowered from 60% and lasts for 2 seconds to 50% that decreases to 0% over 3 seconds. Okay, I'm so sure. No longer grants increased movement speed, instead it now decreases the movement speed of the marked target by 30% for 3 seconds. So this is the opposite effect of Whirlwind.
Yeah, so it's basically her slow got moved from Whirlwind to Backstab.
Right. Which makes more sense, right? Because you'd think, like, once you hit someone, they're going to slow down.
And it gives her movement will be more readily available.
It also, like, before it used to be your combo was Backstab, Whirlwind, Sword Propel, just because you wanted to slow them down really quick.
Yeah.
But now you get the slow down anyway, so you might just go straight to Sword Propel. And then Whirlwind afterward if they're running away. Anyway, now, well, the points actually doesn't matter. You can go any order. Anyway, so new...
You basically want them all happening at the same time anyway.
Yeah. New, when the mark... Yeah, just smash buttons. That's Butterfly. That's how you play her.
One big giant finger hitting all 3 buttons.
Just like... She use a fist on the bottom right side of the screen. New, when the mark disappears or the target dies, 20% of the damage that will be converted to HP. So I don't know what this mark business is.
So now it adds a mark when you hit someone with it. So think of it like the mark is tied to the damage reduction. After the damage reduction is gone, she gains 20% of the damage that she did to that target from the time of her hitting her ult. So if she used all of her abilities, that will be 20% of her ability damage minus the target's armor.
Okay. So she can potentially heal for a lot.
Right. She can heal, and it's not necessarily tied to her getting a kill.
Right.
So if she, like, a fight goes long, she won't be completely screwed up because she'll still get healed. Now she can purge herself from a slow and run away.
It feels like this is just good for all parties.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, when you're playing as Butterfly, you're just like, I just need a kill, and then I can kill them all. And then, which I guess is kind of the similar now. It's still similar because you get the resets, but you won't get the heal till afterward. So like, or like before when you're trying to kill Butterfly and she has like a sliver of health left and she gets one kill, and then because of that you can't kill her. Now that's going to be changed to well, she can reset, but she's not going to instantly get healed.
The main thing that's going to change about her is she's going to need to like chain kill people, because before if she killed like 3 people with Whirlwind, she would get 45% health regeneration. Now she has to backstab, kill, backstab, kill, backstab, kill.
Right, or backstab deal damage, yeah.
Right. To be able to get those heals.
Yeah, and also if she like kills someone with like a sliver of health, she's not gonna heal that much. Although she can heal on the next person, but anyway,
the main thing there is it'll reset.
It seems better. It seems like not complete. Like she still relies on getting kills, but it's not the super be all end all to how effective she is. Okay, next Irie spin damage rescaled from 180 through 580 to 200 to 575, 180 to 1.1. So
just
it's a buff. Yeah, it's a buff. You get like 5 less here, but you get 0.1. And typically you get up to around 1,000. No, maybe not with Irie because she builds tanky, but like maybe like 600, 800 damage. So yeah, it'll be like more like.
And Irie wasn't even that weak.
Yeah.
This guy, however.
Arduin. Okay, next one. Arduin Bloodlust HP restored, increased from 2 to 4%. Fix the bug in which it is triggered when leaving battle.
So. That's not how it was worded before. Basically now, it will only trigger while he's in battle.
Which is nice, yeah.
Biggest problem before was his passive would just, like, over 50% of the time be activating when he's farting around the map. Because it would end its cooldown and just immediately trigger. And since it's just basically a lifesteal effect.
Oh, it restores 2% every time his abilities or attacks. So that's huge. It doubled?
Yeah.
That's a massive buff.
And it's like Kil'Groth's, to where it's not dependent on his target. So it works on towers, it works on minions, it works on everything.
Yeah, this is one of those things where not many people play Arduin, so they don't realize what this is. This
will make him much, much better.
Yeah. I mean, I knew, like, obviously we work on the game, so when I faced Arduin, I'm like, okay, just note to self, when you're facing Arduin, he has this, like, thing where he's below 50%, he's more hard to kill. So if you're soloing against him, then if you get him below 50, you run away for a moment. But now you really have to run away, and in a team fight, he'll be, like, a lot more beastie.
Yeah, he's very similar to Astrid in that he's made to flip fights that he was otherwise losing.
It's a really long cooldown though, so just I think he glows red or something like that.
He glows red while it's active.
Yeah, so if you don't play Arduin, then look for that when he's glowing red. Just stay away. He'll basically be like Aram, so he'll be
forced to engage when it's active.
Yeah. Okay. Next one, Arum, Ravenous Beast, which is her passive. Magic damage reduced from 80 to 60. Yeah, no other changes. And HP restored, reduced from 80 to 60. Okay, so
slightly less.
Yeah, slightly less. She's still gonna be fine. But.
Yeah, and this isn't a knee-jerk reaction as it looks, because she's been out in Taiwan for like a month, 2 months now. No, about a month.
And in the boot camp, she went from. That's funny. They were picking her, and then they started first picking her, and then they started banning her because she was just winning everything. So.
Oh yeah, it's basically your enemy doesn't get a jungle.
Yeah. Well, they just played her in the DS lane actually.
Oh, okay.
But it was just like people like Flash, for instance, like all the mobile like assassin types are really popular, obviously, because you can just get in, do your damage, and get out. And so she just snare them, and they would die, and then be like, "Oh, yeah, let's ban her."
And she has the uncleansable ultimate.
Yeah, exactly. Like her snare
seems to be like a direct. Let's kind of moved this meta away from everyone's picking warriors and
Right.
assassin mages.
So the answer is just banner.
Yeah, we don't want to not pick warriors and assassin mages.
So, did you know, by the way, that if you use it on Teamy, he can't ult?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, like,
Well, aren't they suppressed when they're hit by the ult, where they can't use abilities?
right? No, but Teamy, his ult specifically
if
says
his ult was already active.
no. Teamy's ult specifically says that it overrides CC abilities. So when he's stunned, but
Okay,
it doesn't snare. Apparently, just overrides that even.
interesting.
But I mean, obviously, you can use it on an ally. A lot of times when you get like I've played as Teamy and gone against our own before, and when you get ulted, you just spam your ult and hope that you die right after or the snare effect wears off. So you just kind of like hope. So yeah,
Interesting.
Anyway.
I like it because I think she's a well-designed hero overall, and it's nice to have someone who shakes up the meta.
right. Yeah, she completely changes like the meta in different ways. It's funny, like I think she's gonna be start to get banned in actual like diamond above matches as people get better with her. Although there's really bad RM players. It was like this is something I was about to say earlier, actually, when we were talking about the Superman bans, because sometimes when Superman doesn't get banned and someone picks them, they're really, really bad and they just lose the game. It's just like you need to actually know how to play the character.
I need to take him.
I know, right? But then sometimes you actually get a good Superman and they're like, oh yeah, okay, this is right.
I'm the Man of Steel.
Okay, Gilder, extravagant magic damage increased from 300 to 550 to 400 to 900, and even
Almost doubling the damage, getting like a 75% increase there.
Yeah, and moving the damage from the scaling to the base damage, which makes him a bit more like Teamy, and it means that he can build tanky and still do damage, and it's still 1.2 AP. So if you really wanted to build, mage Gilder, you can. But
in desperate needing of a buff.
This is really big for him because now he can actually do stuff.
He has one ability now.
Yeah, before. This is true. Before, but it's kind of like tactical fire, right? It's his main ability.
Mm-hmm.
But it used to be where he just didn't do much damage, and then you build him like a mage, and then he just couldn't use his other abilities. So now you can actually build him tanky, still do damage, and still get use out of his ult. So yeah. Cooldown reduce as well, and mana cost reduce. Okay, good. He'll be slightly better. Grak, Earthquake, silence enemies around Grak for 0.5 seconds. This is really good. This is a big deal.
Huge, because that's like outside of Hissy Fit, that's the only other.
Yeah, you were saying
silence
that.
Now.
You were like, why does Alice have the only silence in the game? Why aren't there more silence?
It's weird because silence is a really basic ability. It's not that hard to program, and it like helps balance out some mages, especially since a big problem in the game is too many really strong mages.
Yep. Also, this makes it so that when you use Devil's Chain, you can immediately Earthquake and not have to use your ult immediately. Yeah. You can silence them. Because what the worry is, you want to ult immediately, and then so that they, if they can't dash away right away, right? So now you do this, you Earthquake, and then they definitely can't get away because they're silenced. And then you just use your ult because they're slowed. Which means that you'll see less people just ulting nothing when they miss their chain. Or at least that's the hope.
In like tight team fights, he'll be able to get in there and just keep using Earthquake, and it will really disrupt people like the Flash and Tulin and Murad, who are looking to get in and get out really fast. And now they won't be able to get out.
Right. Yeah. Like now, Earthquake was such a bad ability before. I mean, it was something, you still used it, but now it's gonna be like a main part of his kit where you just get in there. Yeah.
That's a huge change.
Yeah. So you can actually build, and if you build CDR for Devil's Chain, you get it for Earthquake as well, and you can just slam that every single time. Cooldown reduced from 17 to 15 in the early game, which is nice. He used to be just so long. He would use.
I missed. I'll just go home.
Yeah, I know exactly. Right? And you're playing as soon as like, okay, I own this lane now. You can't do anything. Hey, Azzen'Ka. The Chi, which is his passive, which I don't think people realize exists, increased attack damage duration reduced from 8 to 4 seconds, Attack damage increased rescaled from 14 to 20, up to 25 to 40. So
Is it really rescaling if all the numbers are higher?
yeah, I was gonna say it's like rescaled to all of them are greater.
It's rescaled from being this at the early to this in the ending to be bigger in the early and even bigger at the ending.
Yeah, so increased. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just like straight buff.
but
Well,
it's smaller.
it's shorter.
It's shorter, but it's a lot more damage.
Yeah, and
And
he didn't really have a problem with like waiting to use his attacks anyway, because I think every one of his, I might be wrong. A lot of his attacks, at least, have a after you use this ability, it will give you some movement or something to your next attack.
So really pay attention to. I think he glows when he does this too, when he has the chi. So
Possible.
pay attention if you're
It'll
Zuka,
make
and if you're for
Omni-Arms a
Zuka.
better choice for him too.
Sorry.
I said it'll make Omni-Arms a better choice for him too.
Yeah, because all of his damage will be increased.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you if you're playing as Zuka and you get like ulted and double one and two'd, then and you immediately die, then this is why.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, pain on the stick, which is his one, I think.
Yes.
Physical damage increased from 120 to 240 to, or 245 to 135 to 260, and the 80 goes up as well. So just more damage.
Straight buffs all around.
Skyfall, which is his ult, physical damage increased from 400, 700 to 500, 800. So
yeah, just 100 points extra damage.
Yeah, so Zuko gets buffed in every single way except for Chi is decreased by 4 seconds, which is like not really a big deal because you want to just kill him immediately anyway. Like after 4 seconds, you're out of there anyway because you're like, don't kill me.
It'll also let him build a little bit of survivability, because one of Zuka's problems if he gets caught, he'll just get exploded all over the field. Now I can slip some armor in under that tunic thing. Take some hits.
All right, Astrid, Bloody Guardian.
I do not know what to do with Astrid.
Yeah, they're like, let's try this.
And I actually really liked her AD based shield because it gave you more points overall, even at the early game. Now they're making it to where she's going back to be more like tank Astrid.
Right, so you can build her tanky and the shield will be the same.
Right.
So 75 per level, that's 14 levels. All right, Google, help me out here. 1,050. Okay, so it's going to be 1,550 at level 15. Sure. Oh, oops. This is what happens when I set up.
1,550 at level 15. Before, you would have needed about 900 damage.
You didn't see this, but I I have hotkeys selected to different scenes, so it changes the scene while I was doing that. Anyway, this was the calculation. Anyway, sorry about that.
So it looks like it will be larger all around. Because even before she wasn't hitting like 900 damage, she would need to match that. I think.
What was her AD in the beginning of the game like?
It's like 150.
Oh, okay. So it's huge in the beginning of the game. So it's just a straight buff.
Like she would normally take like so like 150 at the beginning. It comes out to be about a little less than what it was.
Oh wait, is it 75? Is it 575 at level 1? Is that what that is?
575 at level. No.
Which question mark? Probably.
I think so. I'll have to check. He might have done what I normally do and changed it, because they always write it really weird on the Chinese one. It'll say like times level plus this.
By he, we mean the person who translated this.
Yeah. Yeah, the translator, who I believe was Zazzy Baby.
Okay. All right. Well, probably a straight buff anyway. Let's just move on.
Looks like.
And the fact that it's not contingent on anything means that you can do whatever you want with her. Okay.
Opens her up.
Max Bionic Blender movement speed increase reduced from 10% to 6%. Maximum movement speed decreased from 50% to 30%.
Was that really? It seems less like addressing something that was strong about him and just making his weakness even stronger. Because Max's main weakness is that if you can stay out of his range, he can't get to you, and now he has even less chance of getting to you.
So you mean making his weakness even worse? You mean?
Yeah. Even more of a weakness, rather.
Yeah. This is actually like I am a Max main, so like using Bionic Blender on like mini waves to like zoom around the map was really important. Especially like I would pass through the mid and I know it's like risky to do that because people might catch you, but like I'd need to get back to like DS lane after using liftoff. And yeah, it's really important to have that. And you would like zoom around the map, like you go so fast when you actually get it off on a lot of minions. But yeah, no, it sounds good. Feels bad. Especially 'cause that was the only way you could get a run away, right? When people are chasing you, you use your one and try to run away. But yeah, that sucks. Okay, next, Wailing Blade, Idioma, blade spread distance decreased. Okay, from I don't. What do they mean by spread?
Spread's normally like how far it goes out.
Yeah, I think they just mean the length.
Possible. It's either the length or it's the area at which it turns into a stun, but that would be a buff because it would make the stun longer.
Yeah, no, but like I think probably in the Chinese version it just meant like how long he extends his sword was what they meant by spread or something like that. Anyway,
Possible.
yeah, it used to be like a really long ability.
Yeah, that's almost ADC range.
Yeah, and now it's much shorter. Well, not much shorter, but it's significantly shorter.
It's like a bit, yeah, considerably shorter.
It makes a difference. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, noticeable difference.
Yeah. Okay. This is also it's like less oppressive in like lanes, and you can't just like pinwheel forward and like Wailing Blade from like forever away. And yeah, if when you're laning, because I remember I would like lane against Dioma a lot as Max, and it's super annoying. It's like, really, you sent me from like that freaking far away. So yeah. Anyway, Superman. Flight, physical damage dealt in relation to max XP, reduced from 12 to 10. Everything's reduced from 12 to 10, which is not insignificant.
Yeah, it's not insignificant. I don't think it's enough, but
if you think about it, if he has like 10,000 HP, which actually usually has more, that's 200 damage. So it's about 100 to 300 damage nerf, depending on how much HP he has.
And that's not nothing. I'm not sure how Superman will feel after this. Probably still very strong.
But this is like flight, right? It's not his actual. That's just the auto attack?
Well, they put it in everything. That's the auto attack. That's the physical part of face lasers. That's the physical part of the
right. Okay.
Jump and punch the ground.
I got Controlling Strength mixed up or confused because it shows him with like the ice breath, but
yeah,
it's the actual laser part.
Breath.
Okay,
those are face lasers.
Yeah,
from his mouth. He's shooting and reflecting it off his Kryptonian brainstem and out his mouth.
Wait, if he freezes you and heats you at the same time with his eyes and mouth, what happens?
You go into shock. Just fall on the ground and have a heart attack.
Okay. Anyway, this is an actual like nerf that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas the last patch was like, why?
We've made his cape less shiny. That'll do it.
Yeah. So this is an actual nerf. So yeah.
I don't think it'll make everyone happy because he'll still be able to push you from one jungle to the opposing team's turret.
Yeah, I mean that's annoying, but that was annoying to me, but I really don't like the fact that you can't stun or even like get in the way when he uses his Kryptonian strength when he uses the face lasers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, really, I can't, like the whole point. Like, anyway.
No, it's annoying. But this will help. It's not nothing.
Yeah, the point I was trying to make was that like he does a lot of damage
Yeah,
and
he
he
did
needs to do less
a
damage.
stupid amount of damage for building no damage items.
Right, or like one damage item.
Hmm.
The funniest thing is when I see Superman, it's just like first item go like a damage item. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, do that later. I saw someone build Mermoss the first one, so I was like, what are you doing? And granted, it was casual. But I'm like, please, just there's like so many things wrong with that. I can't even
If
begin
you're
to
going to do
describe.
that, just go AP Superman.
I know, right? But it's like there's like so many things wrong with that. It's like I don't even know where to begin. It's like because Muramasa, it's like it's a late game item because people haven't stacked armor yet. It's like you should get Ring Picker anyway if you're gonna do that. And then and also you're leaving him super vulnerable. I hate like when people build like all damage Superman. It's like it's so bad when you're on their team, and it's amazing when you're against them. Like, oh, he's very killable. Okay. Scud got some nerfs for some reason. Power Glove, which is his is that his one? No. Is that his passive?
Scud's a weird hero that every time they buff or nerf him, he doesn't feel any more or less strong than before.
Oh, it's his 2. Okay. So he uses his 2 when he attacks faster. That's what that was. Additional physical damage reduced from blah to blah, so 100 less at the highest levels, and then the 80 goes in as well. He typically only built like one 80 item, like Spear, which we'll get to later. Spear got nerfed as well, but yeah. Let's see. So, Wild Beast Fury, excuse me, physical damage
He
reduced.
is not a furry. He weighs far too much metal. He is a cyberpunk, if anything.
This is true. Stun time reduced from 1.5 to 1 second. So it did do a lot of damage, and the whole point of it is to knock
people around.
Yeah, knock people around, not to stun them. So it makes sense. I mean,
Though it won't change much because they just changed the scaling.
yeah, it's only gonna be. Hold on, he's gonna only have.
He did not have 1,000 AD. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, probably maybe like 500 or so. So 500, 600.
Yeah, that's not too bad of a guess. If he had like Spear and or Fire Cape, Mantle of Ra, that one.
So if you, what's 0.2 times 500?
250. No, that's
No, 100.
wrong. Don't
100.
listen to me.
It's like 100. So it's still like 100 less damage.
100? Yeah.
It's still like 100 less damage, so it's kind of significant. Okay. Next, Lubu. Red Stallion, movement distance for each cast reduced from 350 to 300, which is a big deal because he has 3 of them.
Yeah.
So it's overall 150 less.
Yeah. He could use that to go really far, though.
Yeah. Arrow control reduced from 0.7 seconds arrow time and 0.2 seconds stun to only 0.7 seconds arrow time. So it used to be
knock up then stun. Now it's just knock up.
That's his third. That's the third Red Stallion, or the third use of it, which was actually really annoying. And it has a. It's weird. When you play against him, your initial instinct is to play it like Malak, where you go behind him when he uses it, but it still stuns you, and it's kind of annoying. Like he stuns you with his butt somehow.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Conquer. Increased attack damage increased from 80 to 160 to 100 to 200. So
he now has more attack power, but doesn't knock you up as much.
Right. But he's like more reliant on Conquer now, which makes him... So just stay away from him when he has Conquer. Okay. Rourke. This is big. Fix a bug in which Rourke's passive armor decrease effect would not be added to his normal attack. So... We discovered this bug, and we were like, what? Why doesn't it affect his normal attack? Because Rourke he's played in jungle a lot, and he's played DS lane a lot. So for his passive to only be usable with, your allies' attacks was kind of dumb. And now it actually affects his own attacks, and it goes up to 240 armor decrease. So it was basically like you have another Spear Longinus, or Longinus, as they want you to say. But... yeah, you went from having no... He was already doing a lot of damage too, by the way. He was already killing people by himself. And now, if you get a few hits off on people, you'll be just crushing them.
So if you were going pure aggro with him, which you really shouldn't do because it's not a good build, but if you did, and you got Spear of Longinus and Rank Breaker, you're doing 750 flat armor pierce.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's like half of really beefy tanks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. And you could realistically do that and get like 3, or I guess 2 defensive items.
And just look at that face. He's smiling. He knows what's going on.
Yeah, he's gonna be really strong. Like people are just gonna like get melted by Rourke and like, wait, what happened? Because they probably skip over this part.
I thought they didn't want marksmen in the jungle.
No, but I think people probably look at Butterfly's change and like some other changes and like whoever their favorite hero is, right? Like why didn't Ignis get a change, or why did Superman nerf Superman, all this kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden they're gonna be melted by Rourke and be like, what?
I'm on Team Ignis too, as well. The old man needs to change.
Well, Gilder got something to that at least.
Oh yeah, they missed. It's like now okay, last patch. Buff the mage with the fireball. Got it. Raz gets a buff. No. The old man mage. The one who's really weak. Got it. Gilder gets a buff.
Oh, man. Okay, anyway, so in response to super buffing him, because they didn't realize that it wasn't working on his own thing, they reduced the damage a little bit, but it's still overall a pretty massive buff. Like 240 pierce in comparison to what, like 15 damage times 4 bolts is like just not even close.
Yeah, it's way more. It's basically a free. Yeah, we've said it before. It's a free armor piercing item.
Yeah. And now actually building, what's it called, Scorching Wind is gonna be useful. Whereas before it was like, why do I have this attack speed again? All right. Malik, cleave physical damage increased from 350 to 800 to 379.20. Okay.
Because when I see Malik, I think that guy needs a buff.
I know, on his cleave of all things. It already did a ton of damage. Now it does.
Yeah.
Even more ton of
damage. It heals you, and it's hard to get away from. And he's safe while using it. What should we do? Give him more damage.
Okay, Soul Eater. Reduce shield damage production from 680, 1780 to 600, 1600, 380 to 2.880.
I think that's the max.
Okay.
It's.
Oh, okay. So shield HP reduced from
up to this.
Right, because that seems like a lot.
Whatever it was, it's each little bit of question mark damage that gets done. That's the highest it can go.
Okay. Because you can only hit like
still
5 people.
Rather high.
Right. Anyway, it's a small nerf. I think. Overall.
The buff outweighs the small nerf, but it's mostly the same.
Yeah.
So you want him to be more aggressive.
Right. So watch out for those cleaves, guys, especially when they're doing true damage. Which yeah, we should mention that, by the way. 920 true damage when it's the second one.
Yeah. Half of Ignis's ultimate. His ultimate, which costs mana and gets nerfed every patch. Except this one. It didn't get nerfed this time.
Okay.
Good job.
That's good. Okay, Valheim. This one's kind of confusing. And I saw that he was getting... People say he's getting buffed, but I didn't really see that.
The damage is slightly higher.
I mean, okay. Damage slightly higher. Pocket Glaive. That's his passive. And after painstakingly going through trial and error and figuring out every single the amount of damage in every single one, this makes me sad that they're actually just listing it here. I could have just waited a few months.
Okay. There's a typo here. There's something I was going to comment on, but it's a typo.
Okay. Anyway, so the nice thing is that my numbers were actually correct, which is good to know that my stuff didn't go to waste. Anyway, red glaive damage rescaled from 1.4 AD plus 0.65 AP to 100 plus 12 per level, plus 1.0 AD, plus 0.65. And this is
That's
where we
not
have to get...
rescaling. That's a straight buff.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, no. I didn't see
no.
the 1.4 AD. You're right. You're right.
So this is where we need to talk about actual scaling. Okay. So 100 plus 12 per level is, what's 15 times 12?
180.
180. Okay. So 280 total once you're at level 15. Whereas 0.4 AD, typically you do get up to like 1,000 damage as marksman. So that's 400. So that's a nerf.
He's even more of a mage now.
Well, anyway, so the point is, okay, it's a nerf on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a nerf to AD Valheim, and it's a buff to AP Valheim.
No, but the AP is the same. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because he has more base damage now.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Blue glaive. And by the way, the red glaive, it was
yellow.
like... What?
The next one's yellow. It says blue, then blue. The middle one's yellow. And this is important.
But the yellow's here.
Red glaive, blue glaive. Oh, I guess it is. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to just say that there.
Okay. Anyway, so the red glaive, in case you don't know, it's basically the same thing as like Bloody Hunt. It's just like this AoE damage thing. It does magic damage. And these are the scalings. Blue glaive, and I didn't know this, so we were trying to figure out what the heck the blue glaive does. At first, I thought it did nothing. It was just kind of a crappy yellow glaive because it did the same amount of damage but didn't stun. But it turns out that it helped give a little bit more mana. Like it restored a bit of mana. But in the last patch, I believe, it restored health as well. And now we're learning that it reduced the cooldown of ability 2 and 3. But now it reduces all the abilities, so including Bloody Hunt. So that seems like an oversight when they did that.
They should have written that down somewhere in the game.
Well, they just said each one has a random ability. Who knows what it is? And then that makes it really hard for us because we have to figure out what each does.
A lot of it, people are League players, and he's a mixture of two League heroes. And the one there, it has the same, one is a splash, one is a stun, and one restores mana. So I guessed that it restored mana. I didn't know it lowered the cooldown, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something you really look at when you're trying to figure out what it's doing. Because you're looking at the damage numbers and everything you're seeing, especially because you're not even using your abilities when you're testing it, right? So that's something I definitely did not notice. Anyway, the damage rescaled from 100 plus 1.0 AD plus 0.55 AP to plus 12 per level? I'm guessing that's 100 plus 12. Is that the typo?
That
has to be, right?
I think it is 100 plus 12. It's not the one I meant, but the one I meant was thinking that blue was a typo.
Right. But like I think it's supposed to be 100
I think it's
12.
100 plus 12.
Yeah. So again, this is another buff for
Mage.
AP, but nerf for AD.
Yeah.
And what did you say it was? It was 280 total if you add plus 100.
Yeah, 280.
And then it's the same nerf to the AD part, which is like so 0.4 times what does he start with? Hold on. Beginning of the game he's like 150, right?
Something like that. It's not high.
He
spent too much time learning fashion than how to... Well, that, and he spends so much time talking about a gun, and then he throws blades at people.
I know, right?
With his offhand.
It's like a good man uses a good gun. It's like, but you don't use your gun.
I'm a gunman. I love guns. Shoot, 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 shoot.
Oh, man. Okay.
Have him shoot the gun.
What is it right here? Anyway. Okay. Oh, I was trying to look at his... Okay. His attack damage is 169, and then... Yeah, so in the beginning of the game, it gives you, what, 112? And then the 0.4 AD would be... Like... What's 0.4 times 169? Or I guess 178 now. I love how, like, what was his damage at the beginning of the game? Oh, it's written right here. It was just changed.
Oops.
Okay, so 0.4 times that is like half of that, so it's like what? It's like
Uh,
80-ish, 80 to 90.
yeah.
Okay, so it's a slight buff in the beginning of the game, which I guess is nice because he's not that good in the beginning of the game.
Or the middle, or the end.
This is true. Anyway, Yellow Glaive damage rescaled from 1 plus 0.55 to 100 plus 12 plus 0.6. So they gave it the same minus 0.480. And in case you didn't know, yellow stuns them. So
yeah.
And this is also something I was wondering, because it didn't seem like they occurred at the same rate, because I was trying to figure out what the blue does, and it like would never come out. I was like, when is the blue coming out so I can figure out what it's doing? And so, I don't know. I'm guessing blue used to be less as well, but now they give the actual ratios, 4-2-4.
Yeah, so, 4-2-4, which I feel like it should be 4-4-2, because yellow seems like the obvious strongest choice because of stun.
Right, but red does the most damage too, so.
That's true, but when you stun them, you can do more damage through just normal attacks without risking yourself.
Yeah. Very true. Okay, anyway, Bloody Hunt. Magic damage increased from 225 to 300, but the 80 goes down. So again, buff to AP, nerf to AD. Oh, it's a nerf. It's like, yeah, it's a nerf, because 0.2 is like 200 damage.
So really, I think AP Valheim is the recommended way to go.
Yeah, seems like it. Okay, next, Slim's base range increased from 700 meters to 750, which I'm okay with. He used to, like, have to really stick his neck in there to get damage. Now he can just kind of do it slightly farther away. Okay. The Joker, Can Laughter, change cannot be targeted for 0.7 seconds to immune to control for 0.7 seconds, which I still play Joker quite a lot, and I like this change because playing against a Joker was super annoying when he would Can Laughter and you couldn't do anything about it. So.
Yeah. Especially when you were able to jump him as an assassin, and he's just like, nope.
Yeah. He's still immune to control, but you can still damage him. So.
Yeah. Well, the damage was the biggest part, especially with
because you had two
like Wukong who are like, well, I guess I just lose.
Yeah, because you had two ways to evade damage, right? Use your Ken Laughter, which you couldn't do anything about, and then you run away with pick a card, any card. Okay, Telenos attack speed gain per level reduced from 4 to 3%, which is like a 15% nerf over the course of the game.
It's a little bit. This is also after it got raised from 2 to 4 last patch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So they overbuffed her and they're like, oh wait.
Right.
Okay. Base attack damage increased from 157 to 163. Sure.
So what? That would have. I'm not going to do the math on that. The DPS looks like it'll come out about the same. Fewer attacks, but more damage per attack.
Okay. The Morning Star increased attack damage reduced from 10 to 8%. Sure. All with nerf. Eagle Eye bonus attack speed. Wait. So Morning Star, is that her passive?
Yes.
Okay. Eagle Eye bonus attack speed increased from 20. So it goes up 10 at the beginning and then 5 at the end. Magic damage
Basically,
increased.
I think they were trying to move a bunch of her damage from her passive to her abilities.
Right, so she's not just an auto-attacking machine. She's more of like, I need Eagle Eye to do stuff.
Or, well, she's less reliant on her allies being close by.
Right. Okay, magic damage increased from... Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because I was with the allies close by. Okay, magic damage increased from 35 to 135 to 100 to 200, so 65 across the board. But then the 80 goes down, which, again, isn't that a nerf?
Attack speed increase.
No, magic damage increase. This thing. So, again, assuming she has 1,000 AD...
That's 200.
I guess 1,000 is probably like over estimating it. Maybe it's more like 800-ish.
So it would be 180.
Right, which is a nerf. So why did they say increased? It's a buff in the beginning of the game, nerf at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll do more magic damage in the beginning, which is something. You'll be killing people.
And she needs, to be honest, she needs more help at the beginning than she does at the end.
Yeah, true. Okay, that makes
it'll
sense.
Help her farm a bit more.
Yeah. Cooldown reduced from 10 to 8 seconds. So yeah, she's just gonna be spamming out Eagle Eye a lot. Okay, penetrating shots rescaled, reduced movement speed from 30 to 50 to 40. Sure. It'll make it a lot. Yeah, it's the same thing. She's better in the early game, not as good as the late game. Penetrating shot. It seems like you never even use it anyway. It's just
I barely do when I'm playing Telonis.
You kind of just use it when Eagle Eye's off cooldown because you're like, I guess.
Or when I'm like, they're almost dead. I have this.
Okay, Arrow Chaos. Physical damage reduced from 300. I'm confused. Wait.
Oh wait. Okay, so. First number, previous minimum. Second number, previous maximum. Third number, new minimum. Last number, new maximum.
So 0.480 down and 200 less on the maximum, 100 less than the minimum.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
Stun time rescaled from 1 second. So wait, what are the conditions on this thing?
Based on how far away they are. The further away they are, the more it does, I believe.
Okay. Interesting. I did not know that. I don't play Tel very much. Okay, so if they're far away, it's suddenly for 1.75 seconds?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Long time.
Jeez.
That explains why the damage is a bit lower.
Yeah.
They're going to be getting a lot of icy arrows to their face.
God, that's so basically she's kind of like Dioma now, where it's like you really want to be hitting at the max range.
Yeah.
And that's like so good.
She wanted to do that anyway.
But now you really want to.
Yeah.
Because 1.75, like you're just dead. If she gets you and the team follows up, it's
especially since at that time, like she will be able to auto attack you. And 2 seconds is a lot of damage from her.
Yeah. Get those Kil'Groths, even though like you're playing against Tel and you have to get Kil'Groths, it's like feels bad, man.
Yeah.
Because you really want you're like, do I get Sonic? It's one of those things where like, I want Sonic Boost because she'll do less damage. It's like, nope, get Kil'Groths because then you won't be stunned to oblivion.
She buys Yoga's Edge and you're like, why can't I move?
Or no, get Frostcape. Just use your Arrow Chaos and then just use your auto attack. You're like, oh wait, I'm stuck here.
Permastun through slows.
Although, speaking of which, the most oppressive slow in the game has been nerfed a bit. Speaking of Alice, fix a bug in which Arrow Chaos would trigger damage twice sometimes. That's nice. Bonus movement speed increased from 20-30%. That's nice as well. Okay. All right, Yorn. Explosive Arrow changes the effect from 1 second immobilization time to 0.75 second stun time. Don't know what to think about this because it's slightly shorter, but it's also a stun. But
yeah, they won't be able to attack you. Well, actually, I think this overall is a buff because when I was playing against Yorn, I would just use a movement ability and be gone.
Right.
Because, for example, Yoma could still backflip away, or Finnick could use his Firefox.
His roll thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I love how we like know what all the abilities are, but we don't know any of the names.
Oh, you never really use the names in the game.
Yeah, studying the actual names. I mean, when we're writing articles, when we're like using the name a bunch of times, it's one thing, but then we forget after like months.
I will never forget pick a card, any card for how much that broke the flow of the bloody article.
Because it's like it's adding.
Pick a card, any card to get away from them.
Okay. Anyway, Fennec, Thief's Mark ability range changed from 750 to 800, which is good for him because
that's really far.
Yeah, he's having trouble getting it up sometimes. And also, it's slightly longer than his. There's a mosquito flying around. It's slightly longer than his auto attack, I believe. so he can
I
get it
believe
off.
so. I think his auto is 750.
Yeah. I was about to remark on Slims actually the fact that like this Fennec is part of his passive is like he has longer range than everyone. It's like nope, not longer than Slims now.
Well, that's like Preda is his passive is he's faster than everyone, but the Flash is as fast as him now.
Not to mention,
As is Batman and Butterfly.
and he's slower than Superman when he's flying too. So
Yeah.
that. Okay, rolling lightning.
Right on Superman. There's a skin idea.
Rolling lightning cannot be targeted while rolling.
That's could be really big.
I never had that issue.
Well, another thing.
I never actually
I will
been able
have
to hit
to
him.
test it if it's like it was in League. Things say you can't be targeted. That means you're just invincible.
Well,
so, for example, if you were under the tower, you could roll into a tower shot to get away to block the damage.
Well, what I'm curious is what do they mean by rolling? Is it when he's moving or when he's like stuck rolling at the end of it? Because if you don't know, like when Fennec rolls, he like does a little roll at the end, so he kind of self stuns himself for a second. And if you can't be targeted, then that's a really big deal. Especially when he like rolls into you. He like rolls into you and you're like, haha, can't touch me. But you don't usually roll into people. It's like tactical firing forward, and it's not a good idea.
Don't do it. Your team will get angry. I will get angry.
Alright, piercing gaze for Lindis. Physical damage reduced from 90 to 540 to 100 to 500. And lower physical bonus.
I think the physical bonus just means 0.45 AD and 0.4 AD because that's how we have it written on our page.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why it's different here outside of just translator missed it.
Probably. Sure. Slight nerf. Lindis has been really, really good. Like she's been disgustingly good sometimes especially in pro games as well.
Yeah, people have really figured her out.
Okay. TV base max HP reduced from that to that. It's a big difference. I mean, they need to nerf Teamy, and now he's really flimsy. So
he'll have to focus more on tank items.
The steady nerfs to Teamy have really like hurt him because like when he resurrects now, they have like 30% health. It's like wait a second, I need to run actually.
Yeah. Well, he's another character who I think they like the idea, but they don't really know how to make it fit.
Yeah.
So they're just playing with numbers, but since they keep going down, it'll come to a point where he just can't really do much except be a resurrection slave.
Which is still a pretty good hero, but yeah.
He's just walking gold and ancestral glory.
Which is funny because a lot of times you get ancestral glory from him anyway. Anyway.
The Elephant Man, buff him before the Michael Jackson buys his bones.
I don't know what you're talking about, but let's move on. Okay. Chogdar. So chaos protection, duration of control, immunity, and damage reduction for teammates increased from 0.5 seconds to 1 second, which is I think needed, even though Chogdar didn't really need a buff. Like the 0.5 seconds thing was so stupid.
It basically gets them out of a stun.
Yeah. And now you can actually
now they can like walk into things and be like, ha ha.
It's also important for things like Owen's ult. Like if Owen's trying to ult your marksman, you can actually prevent it. Because you can't use it. Once he hits you, it makes this like impenetrable wall. You can't get out no matter what. But you can use it beforehand and prevent it. So
right. You have probably like 0.5 seconds to cleanse before it happens.
Yeah. So now it's
if you're in that wall, unless he has to run away, you're dead.
Yep. So that's nice. Hissy Fit. Alice. Reduce enemies' movement speed reduction from 35 to 45 to 25 to 35, which is, I think, needed. It was such an impressive ult because you'd get Frosties and you were like, quicksand. Walking in quicksand does not do it justice. Like walking in quicksand under like a torrential downpour under like with like glue mixed in. You're just like, oh, I cannot move.
Glasses in the middle of winter. Yeah. With broken legs.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Especially because she would just pop it. She would use it with other abilities, right? Like you get like Arm, for instance. Like Arm throws her things out, and then Alice hissy fits, or like you'll ult someone, and then you'll just like zone out the entire enemy team, and it's like, well, I guess I can't do anything. Like you'll throw it under a tower, and they cannot move, and you're just like, okay, I'll take the tower now. Bye. Okay, well that concludes all of the heroes. I guess we'll move on to the items, then we'll talk about overall impressions. Okay. Lots of nerfs here on the items. Really big deal. Leviathan, decreased max HP gain from 800 to 750. Decreased armor gain from 120 to 100. Slight nerfs. Leviathan was really good. Sometimes people would buy Leviathan even on heroes that didn't seem like they should have it. Like we saw I think it was a Taiwan team in the boot camp. They put Leviathan on Tulin and put him on the side lane. It's like, that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah. Well, it was really good because especially... with people, basically anyone who wanted to get Mantle of Ra wanted to get Leviathan as well, because Leviathan gives great stats, and then you'd get the double burn.
Right. Yeah, because Leviathan's burn is like a really big deal, both for clearing waves and for killing people. So you'd build the super defensive item, and you'd still get a lot of damage. And still and not really hurt your clear time for jungle as well, so it's fine for junglers. But now with all the stacks, I believe his max HP off of that is 1,750, something like that, instead of 1,800, which was a lot to begin with. Okay, Spirit Longinus. This is a massive nerf. Increased price from 260 to 280, or sorry, 2060 to 2080. Change crafting equipment from Astral Spear plus Platinum Gauntlets to Astral Spear plus Ring of Vitality plus Magic Ring. So it removed Platinum Gauntlets is armor, if you don't know what that is, and Ring of Vitality is HP. Change attributes from plus 150 armor to plus 400 max HP. It's a big nerf. So 150 armor is the equivalent, like on a normal hero who's building, and typically you can get this on like an ADC, but you usually get Longinus on like a brawler. Or even some tanks as well, just like, or people who have abilities that can proc its passive multiple times. Like Zephyr's Death's Flurry can just do all 5 stacks at once if you just do it, because any ticket damage. So you get it on people like that, or like Arthur, his one procs it twice from one attack, because it counts the attack and the ability. It has 2 different things. So, my point is those people have lots of HP, and why is that important? Is that the more HP you have, the better armor is. Like I mentioned in my article, and if you have like a lot of HP, if 10,000 HP, which is typical for that kind of hero, then 150 armor ends up being the equivalent of like, I think it was like 1,500 HP. It's like a lot. So it's basically a nerf of like 1,000 HP.
That's big. But it's slightly better against mages.
This is true. This is true.
Use that, Tulin.
Okay, Frostgate. Price reduced from 200 to 1970. Decreased armor gain from 250 to 200. They nerfed it again. They're like, they nerfed it from 300 armor to 250. People still kept buying it. They're like, okay, we need to make sure that people don't buy this every single time.
Yeah, because it would really be 10 Frostcapes in a match.
Yeah, and because the passive is just so good. They people will stick Frostcape on like Lindis, for instance, and it's like, no, okay, now you can't just be like immortal and have this amazing passive. They're just getting rid of a lot of the slows, which we were talking about Superman nerf earlier, and this is like a stealth Superman buff because they're getting rid of all the slows.
Well, it kind of indirectly makes Hyuga's a better choice, since Hyuga's is still the same value, same effects.
Right.
It's not necessarily, not to say it's 100% pick it over Frostcape, but it will be a good alternative now instead of just all Frostcape all the time.
Right. And the other thing was like Frostcape, all of the elemental power items have CDR in them, except for Apocalypse, I guess. No, it does. That has CDR as well. Yeah.
Nope, Apocalypse does.
Yeah. So the whole point is like it synergizes with itself, because you want more abilities to proc the passive, and they give you more CDR, which is nice. So like Frostcape, the fact that it had CDR and it gave decent stats and it had this amazing passive was just like too much. And they're like, okay, you guys need to stop picking freaking Frostcape. All right, last one. Frosty's Revenge increased price by a lot. Changed crafting equipment from Enchanted Scroll Gladiator's Gauntlets plus Gladiator's Gauntlets to Enchanted Scroll plus Necklace of Vitality. So armor to HP. And then change attributes from magic.
HP.
Hmm?
Magic defense to HP.
Right. Yeah. So change attributes from magic defense to max HP, and same discussion as earlier. It's a lot less. However, it's not a lot less because 850 is more, but 220 is a lot as well. So it's like, I don't know what the number is off the top of my head, but if you have a lot of, the thing is, if you build Frosty's Revenge, like some people like Chognar would buy it, but a lot of times you'd put it on your mage, so the magic defense wasn't as useful because you only have like 8,000 HP.
Yeah, and this when it's moving from magic defense, I think the HP actually could be a good side grade.
Yeah.
Especially because generally there's only going to be 2 at most magic damage dealers on a team, with the exception of, for example, Arthur deals some magic damage.
Well, yeah, like the most you'll go, I mean, occasionally you'll go against like double mage, and then they'll also have Xenial, and you'll be like, oh, I need a lot of magic defense. But yeah, those are not super typical.
Yeah, and in that case, Frosty's Revenge normally isn't your go-to choice. You want like Medallion of Troy.
Yeah, sometimes like if you're Chognar, or even like Arum, sometimes you would go like Frosties as your only magic defense item, and then you would go, or maybe pair Frosties with Gaia's to make up for the fact that you're not getting Medallion of Troy. But anyway, like Frosties would a lot of times, or even as mages, sometimes you would go Frosties plus what's it called, Barreth's, to get your defense in from both sides. But now you can't do that anymore.
That's true. I think it's more not surprising necessarily. It's bad for the item that they raised the price by a lot and then lowered it basically across the board.
Yeah, let's talk about, so 7% movement speed to 5%, so you don't zoom around with Frosty's Revenge anymore. And the chill passive goes from 25% to 20%, which is again the slight nerf to Alice's Hissy Fit as well. But yeah, people will still get it because it's the only item that does what it does.
Yeah, and I think it's still good.
Yeah.
Because the main thing is the chill, and 25 to 20 isn't that big of a reduction.
Right. The one thing is that there's no way to get magic defense now in magic items.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So it's exact same. Maybe they wanted to do that. They're like, okay, we need to make this like, maybe they felt like there's no reason why mages get magic defense in one of the items and marksmen don't. Like none of the attack items give magic defense.
Yeah, they do. What's it called? The purple sword.
Uriel's Blend?
No one talks about. Yeah, that one.
No, but that gives a shield. It's not base magic defense.
I'm probably wrong there. I never look at that item, so.
It's purple. That's all we know about it.
Yeah.
Uriel's Brand. Attack damage 100, max HP 600.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But the shield is a magic shield specifically.
Right. But it's a weird thing. It's a really weird item. So yeah.
They didn't feel they had to buff it though, so apparently it's fine.
Sure.
That or they forgot it's there too.
But yeah, this really changes like the calculus, because especially when I was playing mages, I was like, okay, I get my armor, I get my magic defense, and I'm good. But now it's just like, well, I guess I'm gonna die to other mages. Like mages will just be like destroying each other now unless you buy like actual defensive items.
The murder of the mages. So really, this is, like you said, it's a soft Superman buff because all these slowing items are going down. And it's a soft Ignis nerf because he loved Frosty's Revenge.
It was his favorite.
Poor Ignis. Your Frosty Fire is not as biting anymore.
To go back to the what you're talking about too with the magic defense though, it was sometimes when you faced against like one mage, it was like you didn't really want to get the magic defense. You're like, I want this for the ability, but not for the actual for the magic defense. So
yeah, infinite magic defense when the mage is dead.
Exactly. But yeah, this will change. I mean, I think people still get Leviathan. It's not that big of a deal, but people will definitely have to switch off Spear and Frostcape now. I mean, not they'll still pick it, but it wasn't like
they'll use it well.
Like Spear wasn't like every single one of my brawlers. I would put it on Ormar. I would put it on Arthur. I would put it on
Alice.
all of them.
Spear, 5 spears
on a max.
Late game, sell the boots, buy a 6 spear.
I wonder if they'll ever fix the max like trick where if you have Spirit Longinus, sorry, with max and you pop his ult, it immediately applies 3 stacks to everyone.
They're too busy stopping those omen spins. Not omen spins.
The
Omega
spins.
That's what's really breaking the game. Spinning so fast is going to raise the phone's clock speed and give the person an unfair advantage.
Okay. Anyway, any takeaways from this whole thing?
Most.
It's a lot of heroes. We've been talking for like 2 hours.
Yeah, everything seemed pretty good, really. Everyone who, almost everyone I think that needed nerf if they came up, were getting a nerf, and the people who came up who I thought needed buffs. The weird one was who was it?
Scud. Everyone other than
buff that was like, why?
Yeah, everything other than Scud were like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, why did they nerf Scud? He seemed who plays Scud?
He's pretty good. I got a trial for him.
I'm not saying he's not good, but no one plays him.
He's
like.
He saw one appearance in the boot camp, but I was like, oh, okay, there's Scud. How about that?
Yes.
But yeah, everything seems in line of what they want to do.
Oh, Malik got his cleave buff, and that was weird.
Yeah, like what? What is that all about? But yeah, I mean, some of them are really nice. Like the Garak buff is like.
He definitely needed that.
But yeah, oh the max nerf is weird. I guess they're just I guess they're like, well, we'll keep him the same, but he could get really punished by his.
He flies off the map anyway. Then he's not in the game.
Sure. Anyway, my takeaway is look out for Rourke. He is. Yeah,
Rourke is going to be, especially since Allegiance was rocking Rourke at the playoffs.
Oh, but Rocker, he's not on their team anymore because he has military duties.
Oh, rip.
Feels bad.
Wait, no, that's bad meme.
Okay, sure. People are talking about Valheim getting buffed. It's not really a buff. I don't think people understand how scaling works.
Got
but yeah,
buff. So maybe that's what they mean. Maybe they're waiting for him to be the new top tier mage.
I doubt that's what they mean. People don't usually pick Valheim. I mean, people do pick Valheim to play him AP, but they don't like. All the newbie players will be even worse off because they will probably build him AD. So.
Well, we can rest happy knowing it's not Valheim time, and I can keep angering people by calling him trash in tier lists.
Like, why do you hate Valheim? It's like,
because he's bad, he's annoying, and he doesn't know how to use a gun.
Oh my god. Yeah. Other than that, no. Like last patch had like a lot of like visual changes and stuff like that, but this is mostly just hero balance. Anyway, we will have an article going over all these changes. I know you'll be happy writing about that because it's massive. But go once we write it, we'll put that in the description of this video as well. So check that out. And yeah, go to Samurai Gamers and look at all our stuff. And also subscribe to this channel because we're going to keep making videos like this. We'll eventually get to part 2 of our item guide.
Indeed.
Someday.
Stick around, lovelies.
But anyway, thanks guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.